I definitely did not cry when JJ came home from work and asked him to hold me while I lamented on his shoulder about this awful cake that I made.
It's LeahMouseVlog, LeahMouseVlog, it's LeahMouse's vlog.
Hey dudes and dudettes, welcome back to my vlog channel where all the fun stuff happens. So spooky season is upon us, as you know, and I got a crazy idea in my head. I love to bake, okay? I love baking. I could do it all day, every day if I had the time, money, and energy. Boyfriend and I just finished watching a few seasons of the Great British Baking Show, which is one of my favorite shows ever. And it always puts me in the mood to bake. So I got this crazy idea in my head to make like a Halloween cake. I've never made a themed cake before with the exception of like that Mario question block thing I did with like gold coins in it. And honestly, I don't really remember much about that. But yeah, other than that, I've never made like a themed cake. So I was like, I'm gonna try. Could I have done hair and makeup for this video? Absolutely. Did I feel like it? Absolutely not. So I figured that just slapping on a glow-in-the-dark skeleton t-shirt would be good enough at the end of the day. It's good enough for me, so it should be good enough for you. So I really have no idea how this thing is gonna go. We're just gonna go through it and see what happens. I'm sort of playing it by ear. It's my own idea, my own design. I'm not taking it from anywhere. I just thought, hey, this would be a good idea. Let's try it. So let's get started and hope for the best, shall we? I have all the crap that I need right behind me here. So hopefully this will work out. I'm scared. I need an adult. Oh, and I'm definitely putting my hair up for this because we do not need any of my long gangly hairs in this cake or surrounding areas. Okay, cross your fingers. Gonna spray my cake tins and preheat the oven. Boom. Now I gotta mix all this crap up. Yay. So I have half a cup of butter here. I don't know if you all remember from previous vlogs where I told you the way to properly blend the butter is make sure it's room temperature. It has to be room temperature, so you leave it sit out for like 30 minutes. And then we're gonna cut it into little cubes because that makes it mix much better. And you always wanna blend your butter first. This is called the cake method. Do not argue with it, do not mess with it, okay? It's chemistry. Yeah, you technically can just do it by dumping everything in a bowl, but this is gonna be the foolproof way to do it, so just trust me on this, okay? Okay, so little cubes, little cubes. And I know I just said half a cup of butter and had 2 sticks sitting out, but that's because I was going to do this twice and I thought I would just do the butter while I was sitting here. I changed my mind, so I wanna see if maybe I can do this without having to do this recipe twice. We'll see. I don't wanna have to do this twice. We'll see. So we take our butter cubes and put them into the mixer. And then we just have to beat it until it's like fluffy. So once the butter is beaten up just a little bit, that's when we add sugar. So we typically want to beat the butter and the sugar together first. That is the cake method, butter and sugar first. Usually it says beat the butter and sugar together first. Oven's preheated. Usually it says to like beat the butter and sugar together first, but the way I was taught in culinary school is to beat the butter a little bit first by itself, and that'll help the sugar incorporate a little bit better into it once you put it in. So don't fully beat the butter by itself, or do, doesn't really matter, then add the sugar. So we need 1 1/4 cups of light brown sugar, and that is packed. And if you don't know what I mean by packed, I'm about to tell you. So when it comes to brown sugar, when you scoop it into the measuring cup, like if you loosely scooped it like this, you know, that's a little overflowing in the cup, but like that's just like a loose scoop. Packed means you push it down in the cup, and that's the measurement you need to go by. So really this is 1/4 cup because it's packed down in there and it's level that way. So loose scoop of brown sugar will usually never be asked for. It's usually packed. That's the proper way to measure it, is to push it down into the thing. It's actually a lot of sugar for that amount of butter. This is the absolute worst part about trying to film myself baking because I have to keep moving the camera and changing the camera angles and resetting it up, and it takes forever. It's frustrating and it's not cathartic because I like to bake and this is totally taking me out of my baking zone. Someone want to come be my cameraman? I'll pay you in cake. So I got my brown sugar in with my butter and we are going to cream that up. And then we add our room temperature eggs, one at a time. These also must be at room temperature, just like the butter. And now we want to scrape the sides of the bowl because we want to make sure to get everything incorporated really well together and get all that gunky stuff off the edges there and off the bottom as well. Now for the best part, and the most important part. We need a cup of this, which isn't actually pumpkin at all. It's actually a different sort of squash, but that's another story for another day. Mmm, yum yum pumpkin facsimile. Hey, it tastes good, that's all I care about. So I'm gonna do a cup of this. I'm not even sure how to get this out of here. Normally I've only ever done like a can of pumpkin, you know. And I'm sorry for how dark it is on this side of the house. Hold on, there's a remedy for that. There we go. I hate that light, it's way too bright. And Houdini cannot sleep tonight because the light is so bright. My rhyme was tight. Anyway, we need 1 cup of pumpkin. So I'm just gonna do it with a spoon. Got our cup of pumpkin. So I'm gonna add that in here along with 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. And mix. Now we need to mix together our dry ingredients in this bowl. And by dry ingredients, that means flour, baking soda, baking powder, salt, and any spices that you might have. So, you know, all the ingredients that are dry. So I need 2 cups of flour. I need 1 teaspoon of baking soda, and I'm doing it in quarters because that's the biggest size that will fit in the box. 1/4 teaspoon of baking powder. 1/4 teaspoon of salt. 1/2 teaspoon of cinnamon, 1/4 teaspoon of ground ginger, and 1/8 teaspoon of ground clove. And believe me, clove goes a long way. Now I just have to whisk this together. And now we have to measure out our buttermilk, okay? So we want 1/2 cup of buttermilk, which has also been sitting at room temperature. I'm sorry, I'm so close. So abiding by the cake method of mixing, we have to alternate the dry ingredients and the wet ingredients. Thus, I will show you. So first we're gonna add a little bit of our flour mixture. Mix that up. And then we add a little bit of our buttermilk. More flour mixture. Buttermilk. Flour. Rest of the buttermilk. And the rest of the flour. This is really hard. Awesome. I got my batter here. Just gonna do a final scrape and stir just to make sure it's all good to go. So now I have to divide it evenly between the 2 pans that I sprayed earlier. Always a good time trying to get this even. I really like this spatula or scraper or whatever you want to call it because it's extremely flat on the edge and it gets every little nick and groove in there with the flat edges, and it makes me very happy. That is not nearly enough for this one, so it looks like I'm gonna have to rob some from this one, which is perfectly fine. I'm okay with that. Just gonna get a big chunk here. It looks about even to me. So I'm just gonna spread this out a little bit. Now these guys go into the oven for 25 minutes at 350 degrees, and then we'll see where we're at.
20 minutes later.
All right, I think these guys are ready to come out. Yeah, they look pretty good. They look a little uneven. Well, this one does. This one has like a weird dip right here, but that's okay. We can work with that. Cooling rack. Ooh, that's steaming. All right, so these guys have to cool completely before I can frost them. Now that my cakes are cooling, I'm going to make the frosting for this. So for this, I'm gonna make a double batch because I actually made double cakes because they weren't gonna stack high enough. So double batch, we've got 8 ounces of cream cheese, 8 ounces of cream cheese, half cup of butter. We're gonna be using 6 cups of powdered sugar and 3 tablespoons of maple syrup. It's supposed to be pure maple syrup, but I am not in Canada, much to my dismay. So we're just gonna have to use plain old American syrup and hope it works. So since I'm combining the butter and the cream cheese in the mixer at the same time, I'm gonna do the cutty thing just to make sure everything gets mixed. So I put the butter in the mixer. Now I'm gonna cut up the cream cheese. Cream cheese is annoying to open. And into the mixer, this goes. Oh my God. Dairy cubes. All right, and here's the rest of the cream cheese. That was a very messy business. Okay, I'm gonna mix this up. All right, it looks pretty good. Now we have to add the maple syrup. 1, 2, 3. I think this is gonna taste pretty good though. I have a feeling it's gonna go with that pumpkin really well. Now, there should be 6 cups of powdered sugar in here. So we're gonna do half a cup at a time. Powdered sugar is a very messy business. Oh dear. Normally I would sift it, but I don't have the time for that right now. Half 1, half 2, half 3, and that's where we're gonna go for now. Mix that up a little bit and then add some more. Honestly, if you want my opinion, that looks pretty good the way it is. Actually kind of stiff. Okay, maybe 1 more cup of powdered sugar and just a little bit more maple syrup. See, baking is all about the chemistry. But when it comes to icings and frostings, there's a little bit of leeway. That looks like a really nice consistency. I'm really happy with that. It looks really good. That is a really good flavor to it. It's not too sweet. I can definitely taste the maple syrup. That's good, I like that. Okay, I think that'll be good. So in the end, I ended up adding 4 tablespoons of maple syrup and 4 cups of powdered sugar. You know, I suppose it would depend on exactly what you're going for, consistency and flavor wise, but that happens to be my preference. It's really good, the consistency. It's not too thin, it's not too thick. It's definitely not too sweet, but it tastes mapley and delicious, and I think it's gonna be awesome. Okay, now for the fun and dangerous part. All that stuff that I just did there, I've done all that before. I know what I'm doing in that department. This is scary, which fits today's theme. So I'm going to make a cup of coffee for some liquid courage for myself, and then we can do this. That'll help. Okay, so I'm just gonna put a blob of our icing down just to hold this thing in place. Normally what I would do is level these off, but since I'm going for a rounder shape anyway, I figure not needed. Now I chilled these in the fridge a little bit, so they would be easier to handle, easier to frost, and easier to cut. So I'm just putting a healthy layer here. I put it on a pizza tray so I could spin it, and because I don't know what happened to my cake circles. Now, second layer. It looks like a burger. Okay. I'm dying to taste test this, but like, obviously I can't. I can't just yet. I got a few more steps to go before I can do that. The cakes smell really good, and I really have a feeling that with this icing, frosting, it's gonna be amazing. It's just, oh God. I can't wait to taste this. All right, now I got my other 2 cakes that I made off camera. We're getting kind of a tower going here, which is the idea. I want it. And the last layer. Holy crap. That is so, I will show you in a minute what it looks like from the side, but oh my gosh. And as soon as I get this done, I'm gonna put this back in the fridge and chill it so that it is easier to work with. So real quick before we go any further, I wanna show you a side shot of this because it looks really cool. Yeah, look at all those stacked pumpkin-y layers of goodness. Okay, so I totally realized that before I put on the top layer of icing and like the sides and stuff, I should have carved it. I realized that about halfway through, but was too embarrassed to say anything. I told you, I've never really done this before. I've never done a shaped cake. I've never done like this design stuff. Like I knew that in my head, but I got like caught up in it, and filming is distracting. Yes, it is, teeny. So whatever, call it a first timer's error. But at least I know, okay? So I've been chilling it in the fridge. So now I'm gonna pull it out. I'm just gonna cut a little bit. I'm not probably gonna have to cut away too much of it anyway, so it works out. But this way, the part that I cut away, I can sample because it's already frosted and I get to try it. So that's gonna be a really fun time. So I'm gonna grab it out of the fridge, put it right here, and see what I can do with it. And I also realized that cream cheese icing probably wasn't a great choice for this. I know it's supposed to be regular buttercream. However, this is the one I wanted to go with. So I can learn as I go here. I have a serrated knife, and let's see if I can successfully cut this into a little bit more of a round shape. I think I'm probably only going to be doing like the top part here. So let's see. I have no idea what I'm doing. No idea. That is an awesome chunk and I can't wait to taste it. It should be a little misshapen, right? Because, you know, I don't know. Hold still. Oh my God. I don't think this serrated knife is quite sharp enough, but I don't want to use JJ's fancy knives. Don't worry, I'm not gonna cut myself, the cake's in the way. We're learning lessons today, guys. Trust me, even if this is a giant mess, it's gonna look good in the end. Well, maybe, I don't know. We'll see. All right, close enough. That's what I'm going with. Whatever. I never said this was gonna be impressive. I am, however, going to try some of this with that icing on it. Okay, if y'all just don't even care about this part, take that recipe I just did, make this and with that icing. That is awesome. Oh my God. I'm gonna have some more. All right, somebody stop me. I have this entire plate of scraps at my disposal and I am definitely eating like all of it. That's really good. Anyway, back to this. Okay, what I have here is some orange fondant that I just finished rolling. I spared you that. So I gotta roll this out into one big thingy. And let me tell you what, I do not like working with fondant. I really, really don't. All right, I'm really hoping that this is big enough. I don't know. I've never covered a cake in fondant before in my entire life, so I just really don't even know. I've only handled it like once ever. We will see. And I've certainly never done this with it. And the reason I didn't go in at the base is because I have a plan for that. So don't worry, I at least sort of know what I'm doing. God, this is big. Fondant does not cooperate as easily as it looks like it does in baking shows. It's heavy and annoying. Wow, that actually worked kind of okay. It looks like a ghost, ooh! Okay, so we gotta smooth this down, which is kind of hard, just because of the shape. Kind of wants to lay like a, you know, flowy piece of fabric or something. Yeah, it doesn't stretch. Like every time I've seen fondant on like baking shows and stuff, it looks like you should be able to stretch it. No. It has absolutely zero give whatsoever. It is what it is, and it's weird. You'd think it would feel like Play-Doh. It does not feel like Play-Doh, and if there's a crack, there's a crack, and it's hard to fix. Crap. We're getting there, guys, we're getting there. I know it looks weird right now, but trust me, I have a plan, and it's gonna all come together. It'll be okay. Oh, how do people do this? All right, whatever, it's just gonna have to be kind of strange in that one spot. That's all right, I can deal with it. Now I need to trim around the edges. It says to use a knife, but I got a roller thing, because I'm a pro. There can be a little bit of overhang, because like I said, I have a plan. for the bottom part here. So take that off, and I'm actually gonna use that for some stuff in a minute. And like I said, I know this is shaped a little bit weird, but I have a plan. And this is driving me nuts, that little crease right there.
One eternity later.
So this is my stupid cake before I put down the apple cake dirt. I absolutely hate it. I think it's hideous. I am not proud of that, except for maybe the stem a little bit. I just think it looks really stupid. So I think that maybe next time I'll watch a tutorial first and, you know, actually learn from somebody who knows what the heck they're doing. I know this is supposed to be like a Halloween cake, but it's not supposed to be this spooky. Like, this is just next level spooky. Oh God, I'm embarrassed. Okay, so now that my pumpkin looks like absolute crap and like a child in a kindergarten class made it, I'm gonna make the crumbly dirt base that hopefully will help me out in the making it not look like so much like a basketball department. Yeah, I realize my cake looks like crap and I'm kind of really discouraged by that, to be honest. This is my first time doing something like this. I realize that everyone has to start somewhere, but I don't know, it just went a totally different way in my head. So I've been a little bit discouraged while I've been off camera here for a little while and kind of just want to chuck it in the bin, as the Brits would say. So I'm gonna just press on, continue with the plan, and hope that maybe it makes it a little bit okay. So I'm really tired. It's 3 o'clock in the morning and I'm just so done with this. I don't want JJ to come home and see that ugly thing sitting in the fridge and start laughing at me. I know he wouldn't, because he's a really nice guy and he's a really good guy, and if anything he would go, oh, and give me a hug when I tell him I feel crappy about it, but I just don't want to deal with this anymore. I've had some time to go to zero and come to terms with my shortcomings. I had to remind myself, this is the first time I've ever attempted anything like this, and I did it without any guidance. I could have easily looked up like a YouTube tutorial or whatever, but I was like, I just want to see what I can do on my own. And you know what? If that results in something that looks like a child's art project, so be it. I can learn something from it and know not what to do going forward, etc. We're gonna make an attempt to salvage this right now. And I'm gonna make my apple cake that I made in a video a really long time ago. And if you want a link to that video, I will link in the description below so that you can see the exact procedure. I'm just gonna whip through it real quick here because we've already spent enough time making things. So I'm just gonna throw this apple cake together real quick, and then we're gonna use it for some dirt crumblies around the base of this pumpkin abomination. Man, this smells even better than I remember it. Holy crap. Yeah, I haven't made this in a long time and I don't know why. It's very simple and it's very delicious, and yeah, I'm insane for waiting this long to make it again. So just gonna put this into the dish. And like I said, I will link to my original video about this cake in the description below, but I will also post the recipe down there as well in case you don't really feel like going to find that video, which I completely understand because I looked like a weirdo back then. And well, nobody needs to see that. In fact, I will put all the recipes for all the things I've made in this video in the description below so that you can make your own if you like, because as much as everything is gonna probably turn out to be really ugly, it does taste good, I promise you. I already ate all of the trim scraps from that pumpkin cake yesterday, and I try to give JJ some of the frosting at least because he's like being really healthy right now and he's not putting bad stuff into his body and he's like working out all the time and everything. So I wanted him to try the frosting at least because he likes cream cheese frosting. I was like, you gotta at least try a lick of this frosting, dude. But he said no, and then he called me a temptress. So the apple cake is ready to go in the oven, which I will be doing thus.
Later.
Apple cake is out of the oven, so I just have to let this cool for a while. Oh my god, it smells so good. Once that cools, I'm going to, much to my dismay, crumble it up and put it around the base of this abomination of pumpkin hell that this is. And hopefully that will make it look not so weird. And I know that it doesn't look the same from above as it looks from the side, but trust me, it's not great. You know what? I'm kind of proud of the stem though, I'm not gonna lie. Like the stem looks a little questionable, you know, for a little bit. But anyway, so yeah, the stem I don't hate. So, you know, we're just gonna stick with the positives at this point because last night this thing had me wanting to cry and fling it into oncoming traffic. It's still not great, I'm not happy with it, but I don't care. You know, for a first attempt with absolutely no guidance, what did I really expect? So before I tear this thing apart and make it into crumbles, I'm gonna eat some because I gotta. I'm gonna take a gooey, wonderful bit out of the middle here. That is so much better than I remember it. Oh my god, so gooey, so delicious, so appley, so caramely, so wonderful. Okay, I need this for the dirt. I need it for the dirt. Oh my god, stop! Anyway, let's put the dirt on and see what happens, okay? I'm just ready to be done with this thing at this point. All right, so we've got our dirt cake with a giant hole in it because I ate some because it's delicious and it's gonna be really hard to not eat it from around the cake. I don't exactly know what to do here. Your guess is as good as mine, so we're just gonna try. Just gonna grab a big thing and kind of just break it apart and shove it, I guess. It's basically what I'd like to do with this cake right now. I just like to shove it. You know, I had a whole plan. The plan, well, for lack of a better way to put it, didn't go to plan. And it upsets me when that happens because, you know, what are you supposed to do? You think you're creative, you think you're artistic, you think you have a good handle on how to do something, but no, the universe just has to kick you in the teeth and say, what do you know? I mean, this dirt thing seems to be working out better than I expected, to be honest. This could be like a Thanksgiving centerpiece, you know, at a retirement home or 5-year-old's party, you know, where nobody's gonna even notice. Yeah, I like don't hate how this is turning out. So at least there's a bright side in all of this. The major problem being how much space in the fridge this thing is gonna be taking up for the next however long it takes me to eat this, 2 days. Of course, JJ had to go and get healthy on me right before the freaking holiday season, right before fall, right when I like to do a lot of baking. So I am on my own when it comes to eating baked goods right now, and that makes me incredibly sad, but, you know, a little happy at the same time, I suppose. We've got some dirt. That's good. The dirt pile on this side looks better, but like the stem looks better from this side. So we're just gonna look at it from this angle because this is like the best angle. Okay. Behold, the pumpkin patch apple dirt cake of doom. So that, guys, is my finished cake. It looks terrible, but you know what? It tastes good. And that's really all that matters at the end of the day, right? Because I know it tastes good. That apple cake tastes good, and that pumpkin spice cake that's encased in that gross layer of fondant, it tastes awesome too, along with that freaking maple cream cheese frosting. Oh my god. As long as you are not attempting a feat of this magnitude and don't want to cry yourself to sleep and have a nervous breakdown after attempting something like this, because that definitely didn't happen to me last night, I recommend trying all 3 of these recipes. The pumpkin spice cake, that maple cream cheese frosting, and the apple caramel cake. I will leave all of the recipes for all of those things in the description below. Watch through this video again as a refresher on the procedure if you need a refresher on the procedure, because like I said, the cake method is legit. You don't mess with it. It's chemistry. Foolproof. Your cake will come out perfect every single time if you follow those steps, I promise. So even if you are new at baking, trust me, take my tips to heart, okay? And if you want instructions on the apple cake, I will leave a link to the apple cake video in the description box below as well. I'm holding an entire tripod. Why am I doing that? That's better. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. You know, from far away, this is kind of like a Monet cake. From far away, it doesn't look that terrible. Just don't look at it up close, okay? Please don't zoom in. Do not enhance your screen. Do not go CSI on me. We don't want a digital enhancement on this monstrosity, okay? Trust me. But, you know, for a first attempt, okay. I like that I came up with like the apple cake dirt idea because that really added something to it and made it look not quite as stupid in the end. And it added another layer of deliciousness. Now I'm gonna have to keep this in the fridge. JJ doesn't get to eat any of it. That makes me sad because I'd like him to try it because it is really good. But hey, Dude's being healthy. He's not putting anything bad in his body, so it leaves me all alone to go candy bar shopping in the middle of the night and eat all the tacos. It's okay, more cake for me. Well, thank you guys for watching and hanging out with me. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please do not ask me to do another one. This was 2 days of torture and there was not a breakdown in the middle of that, I promise. I definitely did not cry when JJ came home from work and asked him to hold me while I lamented on his shoulder about this awful cake that I made. But I enjoyed hanging out with you guys. Maybe someday in the future I'll do another one and I'll get better at practicing and we'll actually make something good next year. Who knows? So don't forget to watch out for the sheep as always. And vlog phrase of the day is, ugly cakes are still tasty cakes. I love you guys so much. I appreciate you very much. Check the description box for all the links, including to the candle shop. Get some Halloween candles on underworldconnection.com. They are waiting for you. Okay, bye. I just realized I went to the trouble of putting on a glow-in-the-dark skeleton t-shirt and we didn't even test the glow-in-the-darkness of it. Does this really count? Because there's orange light. I think it's a lie. The skeleton is a lie. The cake is also a lie because the cake is hideous. Well, the cake is right there, so it's not really a lie, but the skeleton is definitely a lie. This is how I'm gonna shoot my next video. This is spooky. Okay, I'm done.